Black women are the most educated and successful group of people in America right now.
Are the most educated demographic in this country.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Right. Article that just came out that said that actually the most educated demographic in this country right now is Black women.
Black women have been running around lately and saying, we're the most educated group in the United States. They believe that. Number one, it's not true. But number two, if they believed it, why are they the least educated? That wouldn't make any sense. Yeah. If these women who are raising their children at a 76% clip, single, why are their children as smart as they are since they're so smart?
That's a good question.
What is going on, everyone's? We are here and we are back with another episode of
Is My Point Valid?
Yes, indeed. I am yours truly, Brandon D.
And I am Camille A. Stalker.
And before we get into it, we want to say thank you to everybody who continues to rock with us. If you get any value or like what you hear, like what you see, make sure you hit that like, subscribe, share, tell a friend to tell a friend, you know what I'm saying? Because it helps us grow and we really appreciate it. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and get into this topic. And the topic for today is going to be.
Is it single? Single Black women's priorities are jacked.
Yes. So there's two things that Black women pride themselves on. And that is education and their independence. And for some reason, Black children are lacking in both. So I'm trying to find out where the disconnect is. If you have a large percentage of single women raising our Black children, why aren't our Black children also getting the same attention to detail in education and independence? Because our Black children are some of the most uneducated and the most dependent people in America. And for Black women to pride themselves on, we have the most degrees, we have the most certifications, we're the brightest, we're the smartest, we invent the whatever. Why aren't our Black children on the same level?
I don't know. I'm college educated. I homeschool my children, and I think they're the brightest of the bunch. But I guess I don't fit in that criteria.
Exactly. We talking about single Black women, because most married women they don't pride themselves on societal accomplishments. They're more my family, my husband, my children, things like that, things that really matter. And like say, you don't fall in that. You fall in that category and not the other category. So,
well, then the messaging has been, I think for a long time, of course, I can't really, this is just opinion based in observation, because I did not attend Black high schools, or, I didn't attend strictly Black schools. So that might have been a thing of, these Black women attending strictly Black schools, and the message being, hey, you must be educated. We're going to get you in college. You're going to do this because of education. But in the Black community, period, the thing has been get an education because you will go further in life. We want you to go further. But everybody just said, get an education. They're not saying, hey, get an education in engineering.
No specifics.
Right. Just get it. Right.
It's always the generic doggone advice.
And also, I think with that, I had started off saying about like Black schools, but I think Black people telling Black children, and I don't like saying this Black, right? But telling Black children, you have to be better than your counterparts, or you have to do this. And so I think when you focus, and then when you think that education is doing what a college tells you to do, and then of course you have spent 4 years doing the thing that you're supposed to do, but just that piece of paper does not define you.
That piece of paper is what American education is.
Absolutely. Yes. And
you don't necessarily have to have had picked up anything throughout those years. You just need to be able to pass a test and
right.
you get that paper
when
and
you
you're
boil
educated.
down to the American education system sucks, point blank, period.
And then you have on the other side, you got people with these certifications. And with certifications, all you got to do is sign up. You sign up, you take a class, you do a test according to that class,
yeah,
and you certified in whatever it is.
It doesn't necessarily mean that you are like knowledgeable about it. Have you researched more into it?
So we need to clear that it's a misconception on this whole educated.
Forget misconception. It's blatant lies that are telling because that group of people wants to look a certain way. And then when you have messages that are saying, well, you are, the most educated, or you're getting more degrees than the black man, and that's a form of pride.
Like, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to belittle?
Right. Yes, and that's exactly what it is. That's a form of pride.
We better than you.
If you're prideful, if these women are prideful in getting themselves in order, well, pride, you forget about your little right. One. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Pride will have you.
While you trying to shine, your children are dull, blind, and lost.
Because what does the school teach you? The school doesn't really teach you anything. You go to school, you do worksheets. Your children are not reading full books. Even in college, we weren't reading full books. You read a chapter, you skim the chapter. Matter of fact, you go online and you go to Brainly, or you go to I can't think of the other website, and people put answers on there, so you study those answers. The way that I did it when I took classes online, so if I needed an answer, I was going to the internet to get my answer. If I was taking a math test, I'm gonna be honest with you, I was going to photo math. I was putting,
and that was back then. So imagine how much easier it is now.
It was very easy because sometimes I use it to look up stuff for the girls. So it's not and the definition of education too is is screwed up, because what is happening just because you have a degree and you read a book that is biased, because you're not, these books are biased, and you're not forming your own opinion. You agree.
They're not teaching you how to form your own opinion. I'm going to teach you how to think.
So if they're not teaching you how to think, how can you teach your child how to think? Matter of fact, 5 years ago, I didn't know how to teach my child how to think. Now I do. And yes, you should teach your children how to think, what to look for, how to be unbiased with what you are learning, and saying, hey, I have to see both perspectives. But when there is this, when you're just this tunnel vision of this is what I need to do because this will get me further,
I.
You leave your children behind, and you put them into the same system that you came from, and you formulate the same thing. And then what do you teach them? Well, you got to get this, and you have to do what the school says, and then you'll get this degree.
We setting ourselves back.
And I think that's crap. But what do I know? I'm just little old me. What do what do I know? I know that children across the board cannot read. And why can't they read? So when you dig deeper into it, it's not like, first off, when you began learning to read, the American school system is teaching, like, you look at a word, like repetitive, like you look at a word, stop, and then that's stop, right? It is memorization, and it is not phonetic. So you're not learning the sounds of it. Why does C and K make the same?
You're learning to recognize.
Right. A certain word, I can't think of it. So you're not learning phonetically. And so when I started homeschooling, we started, mind you, Isabel was like pre-K kindergarten. So Isabel is more privy to the homeschool, like not knowing really what public school is. Ava still knows some of what was indoctrinated into her. And I'm saying this, I know exactly what I'm saying, because the public school system has to follow a certain curriculum. And
it's universal.
Yes.
And that is why, Donald Trump is trying to eliminate that. and give it back to the state's control. But that's another topic for another time. Anyway.
Yeah. So we had to go back to the basics. And when I started watching non-Black people say, need to teach your child phonetically, sounds, teach them how to sound out the word, teach them, show them the word. And so that comes with McGuffey readers. And if I think I've said this before, if I could get every child to start off with the primer, which is the first book of it, and we work our way through, and they have to, with these books, children are reading like Bible verses, poems, like great writings and all this, and they're reading it, and you say it aloud every day, and that's public speaking, that's speech and all these things. That you don't take speech in public school until I took speech when I was in the 11th grade. So I'm almost done with school. Why am I taking speech when I'm almost done with school, when I should know how to be speaking, know how to look at people, make eye contact? Like, I think those things are important, and the children are not being taught that. And another thing that is hindering children today is technology. Mothers are allowing, buy, what's the first thing you do? You buy your child a phone because, and then the first thing, well, they need to get in touch with me. Man, they better walk to the office and call you. Like,
we had to use pay phones. We was doing 1010 220 and 1-800-collect if we needed to. If we had no money, that's how we was calling. So straight up pay phone.
It's technology. One of the things that I read too was how every child in the American school system has like Chromebooks. So that's what they use. They're not giving books to the children, homework assignments. It's technology. There is no reading.
We handicapping our children.
Exactly. So if mothers are too busy to getting their degrees, they're not focusing because, hey, this is what the Times is saying that it needs to happen.
Be independent.
Yeah. And so when I just back to
the whole order of things
is when you,
because we wouldn't be worried about our doggone independence if we were in the right side of things. I mean, women wouldn't have to be so independent if they had a man. Just being real. You wouldn't have to get out there and do half the things you do if you had a man. And I understand the reason why you don't want that, because you want all the control, and that's understandable. I feel that. But at the same time, don't complain about things if you know what the consequences of those actions are. Being by yourself is hard. If you don't want that, then you need to redirect or reestablish your mindset to fall in line with what a man got going on, so you can have him help you with life. That goes
back to what was learned again in the Black community. Even we watch a lot of movies from the 80s when the crack pandemic. It
was a crack pandemic.
Whatever. But whatever it was called, I can't remember what it's called. Epidemic is the word.
Epidemic. Crack.
Mothers then were single, and they were, what would they tell the little girl, their children? Don't depend on no man to do for you. If you do for you what you need to do. And that is out of order as well. Women, we need men. We need husbands. We need to marry. We must be submissive and whatever. I'm not even going to get into that, but we must be submissive. We must take care of our homes. And people, I hate this term. Well, this self-care and this self-love. God dog almost
cussed y'all out.
Like, self means
once you have some children, all that self mess, man.
Do you know how to be selfless? And being selfless means like you're giving, like, man, I would do.
How we of service to somebody?
I would do.
Your children need
anything, because it's a running joke with me and my children that I know I'm raising girls that are very loving and very caring, and they are very, very selfless. And I always joke like, where the heck y'all get this from? But I know it's for me, but I it's from Brandon as well. But I know that I am teaching them that, yes, you must be in service to people. You just can't think about yourself, because
it ain't all take.
Right. And so in situations like this, it is a take. I must be the most with women. I must be the most educated. I must be the one seen in this room. I must be seen. Do y'all know that half the time, majority of the time, I am seen, but it doesn't feel like I'm seen, but I'm doing, like, you get what I'm saying? Like, but I'm doing what I am supposed to do. I can sit here and say, yeah, I have a degree. Yeah, I can go out into the workforce and do whatever. But for me, my children, I feel, are my most important.
I don't need you in the work.
I think God gifted me these children for a reason. And it wasn't for me to put my children with somebody else. Now, if I would have known that from birth, then absolutely they would never have stepped foot in a public school or any of those things. So we all have to learn, different things.
But that's why we're here to teach.
Right. And so, but I would never, ever put them back in. My cousin asked me one time, well, what if they want to go back? Well, that would be a conversation that we would have. But in my heart and in my mind and my soul, I don't want them back in there, because I am their mother. I can give them everything they need.
In the school system, they do the most and you end up with the least. They do all of this curriculum and all this mess, but your children still end up with 85% of them can't read and can't write. So it's on you. Your highly educated self. Yeah, all them degrees and certifications and all of that. How y'all expect the next generation to do anything if we raising illiterate children?
When you're not sitting down too and reading to them. So another thing, look, I promise y'all, I'm not boasting or any of this. These are the things that I do, and I feel like every mother, even father, could take these things and do with your child. Read to your child, read aloud with your child. That helps with their reading. You wouldn't think so, but and there, I've talked about this before, narration. So you have a discussion with your child about what you have read. Like, that helps. You're reading these things. Are you retaining what you're reading? No, because sometimes that stuff that especially textbooks. I know with me,
my mind be wandering.
But textbooks are written to where, and this is a really strong opinion that I'm about to put out there, where you don't understand, because it's some socialist, communist, Marxist stuff that's put in there, and it's confusion. Like, I'm not even gonna hold you. So let me highlight this. You want to define stuff. You want to do, like, that's not learning. Even if you get a degree, like that's not learning. Because
even college students, they don't know basic things. Like, they've done videos where they've asked them, like, basic, who's the president type basic questions, and they don't know.
You don't even know who the first president is.
They have no clue.
Right. Who's the second president?
Like, what's the capital of the United States? They don't know stuff like that. Like, the most basic things that children should know, college students don't. So for you to tell me that you have a degree or you're highly educated because you graduated from some institution, I mean, it don't mean much to me. May mean something to you, but at the end of the day, if our children aren't receiving that same education, what are we doing all of this for?
What are we doing all of this for? What is the goal? Is it the goal for them to be the next top NBA player, the hot
and that's
football player? Like, what are we doing? And then you have, a lot of these players, they are getting smart and privy to, reading their contracts and knowing what they want and what they don't want. But I think that's different because they have somebody, a lawyer, who is saying,
exactly. Hey, they don't understand. They still don't understand. So at the end of the day, their lawyer can tell them anything.
Exactly. And you can't, we set our children up for failure because we aren't taking the time to say, you tell them, hey, you need to listen to that person. Don't make me come up to the school and you're black. You have to be like, you're teaching them those things, but you're not structuring their minds where they know that, yeah, I'm capable to be an engineer. I'm capable to be an architect. I'm capable to be a teacher and really go in this classroom and teach these children how to read or teach these children how to do some math problems so that they can, go further in the world. I'm also tired of hearing like, children with algebra. Well, I'm not going to use algebra. Okay. But you're not going to use it because you
want a doggone major in kinesiology. That's why you ain't gonna use it.
Right. And so, a lot of black children fail algebra 1 because they weren't set up with the math that they were supposed to. So when nobody's taking the time to focus them on it, and then there's that argument, well, I'm not good at math. That was my argument for a lot of years until I said, hell, hold on, wait, I am. I worked with money. And now I know how to count. I know how to figure things out.
Sometimes we make things harder than they have to be.
Look, I sit with I have on the scale, I'll just be a literal what she is. She's a 6th grader. So we sit every day in a 6th grade book and she does her work. I sit, and then when she's done, we go over it together. And we do math completely different. Her mind, she does it in her brain. I need a piece of paper and I'm writing it down. Well, how'd you get that? Girl, look, we got the same answer, right? So look, we learning this together. And I've enjoyed that. I think she enjoys it as well. So we need to take those moments to not think about ourselves or not think that, hey, I need this. When, what the song say? Our children are the future. Like literally. Straight and up. We can say that, well, things are changing. It's more technology. I would reel that in. Because
they still need to know how to work that technology.
Cursive, I think it should be some cursive, and then you should get back if you feel like the school is not doing, then you are the parent.
Maybe you should.
You read. You can write your own. Like have them. If they struggle with writing, here's what you do. Here's another tip that you can do.
Quick tip.
Go to Walmart and buy you a notebook. One of these.
I know with paper and lines.
And grab them a nice ballpoint pen or pencil, but do a pencil. And have them write one essay a day. Whatever they want.
Not a Mexican. An essay.
You silly.
So,
And have them write whatever they want. Don't tell them what to write. Don't say you need to. If they give you one sentence the first day, you
let them use their imagination.
You take that sentence and you say, all right, I'll read this. And then you know what you do the next day? You add to it. You continue to do it. And that's how you work through these things. I don't care about you being the most educated. I care about our
that's
children.
Questionable anyway.
Anyhow, I got facts on that, but I ain't going there. But I do care about these children reading and writing. I do care about them thinking things out and not going with what the crowd says, but what is fact, and stop being biased about things. And I also want you to stop being so caught up in saying, well, I'm a black mama or I'm a black woman. Be a woman.
Because you'll miseducate your children on some bliggity black stuff.
Exactly. You will have your children out here thinking that the world owes them something. And real life, the world don't owe them nothing. Nothing at all. And I
know it seems like, and just in reference to all our videos, it seems like we be bashing black people, but the message really here is we got to do better.
That's all.
We have to do better. And we so worried about doggone rappers and all of this stuff and the revolution and our children. What about the children? I believe the children are the future. What about that? That's what we need to be focused on. So while you so educated, make sure your children are educated as well.
But you know how I feel? You know what I really feel deep down inside? That these people don't like their children anyway.
No, they don't.
So what do you do when you don't like something?
You make it dumb.
you let it fail.
Yes.
And
leave it outside in the cold.
You can blame teachers. You can blame principals. You can blame administrators.
Probably what it is. Y'all don't like y'all kids.
You can blame schools. I take full responsibility for my two children.
I'm accountable for mine.
I have to be. And I think you should take that accountability. Is it work? Yes. Absolutely. It's hard.
Everything is work.
But when you see them speaking,
it's satisfying.
When you see them speaking with somebody and they're just rambling off everything that they've read or that they've wrote, oh my goodness.
It's just like in construction. You work a job, you know what I'm saying, from beginning to end, and when it's finished, you can be like, I did that.
Like the Bible tells us,
it's rewarding
to teach our children diligently. Now, when he's talking about that, he's not really talking about rote learning. He's not talking about public school. But what is it that we want our children to know? Morals and values. What are their morals? What do you value in life? If you value getting a piece of paper, well, you know what?
They don't even value that. Not for their kids. For themselves, they do.
So what are our morals? What are our values? What do we want to see? Do you know what you want your child to do? Do you know what your child is interested in or what they want to be
I know what they want their kids to be
when they grow up? And then here's another tip here. Golly, I'm just full of them.
Tip.
Don't ask your child what they want to be when they grow up. So I started asking the girls, how do you want to serve your community? How do you want to help people? And
how
when
do you want to be of service?
Right. And when I asked them that, boom, this is what I want to do. I was
when you ask a child what they want to be, it's a basketball player, a football player. How you going to serve the community?
Right.
That's what we need to start asking our children.
And I always want to tell y'all what it is they want to do, but that's private.
They ain't got nothing to do with y'all.
I know. Because I'm like, what they want to do is like, what? Especially what our oldest wants to do. I was like, girl, make that money. I ain't saying it's all about money because I'm like, hey, serve your community, right? But don't be like, no, just ask them, how would you want to serve your community? What would you do to help people? And I think that'll blow you away. But you got to get them reading and writing and knowing math and being proficient in all of these things. Right? Yeah.
All that. We got to do better.
And a bag of chips.
At the end of the day, our message is we got to do better. Mm-hmm. So take that, marinate on that, focus on your children. And with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get up out of here. And like always, it's love, peace, and soul. Like Soul Train, baby.